as you can probably tell from the title, yeah, I'm gonna get super personal. Probably the most personal I'll ever get on this channel. Like, I'm gonna go and admit something about myself that I honestly plan to never talk about here. But I already kinda let this slip a few times recently, and people have taken notice, so what the hell. Also, I'm out of ideas again, and my channel is slowly dying, so yeah, may as well get this off my chest. So yeah, as you can also tell from the title, and perhaps from my general mannerisms or my voice or whatever, I have autism. I was diagnosed at 5 years old, and I've had to deal with it all my life. Now, it's very mild, so like high functioning or Aspergers or Autism 1, I believe that's the latest one. I don't know, the DSM keeps changing it around. Point is, despite everything, I have a small, albeit solid chance of being able to have an independent life of my own. Eventually. So despite the hardships I faced and I probably will continue to face, I'll probably do just fine. But let me tell you, growing up with autism, yeah, I faced hardships, and I still do to this day, and as I said, I'll probably be facing them for the rest of my life. Especially in the early days, my social skills and my emotional intelligence were often leagues below literally everyone else in my class, which led to me constantly making a fool out of myself and getting myself into situations I had no idea how to get out of. Thankfully, the special education programs in my county were pretty good, and I'd like to say it's thanks to them that I managed to turn out okay by then, but it definitely wasn't smooth sailing. I've had to work through and deal with issues that not many other people have had to deal with, such as serious anger issues, awful social skills, and I've also had to deal with all the stigma that surrounds, people like me, alright? I wouldn't say I was an outcast. Like, I definitely had some legit, genuine friends, and I am thankful for all those people, but in general, I was kind of a loner because of a lot of these issues, making me not want to deal with people and other people not want to deal with me. And while I'd like to say I'm used to it, it has taken its toll, right? I would often just feel worthless. Like, I'd always worry that I wouldn't have a future or a life or anything, even though I do have a strong support structure and 2 great parents along with several genuine friends again. And I did eventually get pretty good grades at the end, so I guess in terms of education, I'm fine, although who really gives a shit about that? And even with all the progress I've made, I still couldn't help but feel like all of it would be in vain, like no one would see anything past my autism, and as such, I wouldn't be able to be anything I wanted. Like, here I am, a supposed grown-up at 22 years old, seeing everyone I used to know from high school graduating from college, starting careers, getting bitches, and it's like I'm expected to have that by now, but I don't. Well, I mean, I'm graduating from a college this semester, but it's only a 2 years associate's degree at a community college that I end up spending 4 years on. And my excuse for that is the pandemic, but then again, I've quickly realized before then that I couldn't take more than 3 classes at a time. And aside from that, I've barely had any jobs at all besides this internship I've been doing all last semester, and I don't know, I mean, I'm making money off of Conquer Maps and kind of sort of YouTube, so I guess you can call those jobs. I don't know. Like, people my age, like early 20s, are already supposed to be independent. And I do feel I'm on track to becoming a functional member of society, albeit much later than everyone else, but I still feel like I'll always be dependent in some way. Like, I've never had a chance to be, fully in control of my life, so I feel like I'm just never gonna be ready to do so. Especially with how the pandemic sort of, uprooted things. But a lot of this isn't really specific to people with autism. I do actually know plenty of people who are in a very similar boat as I am. Yeah, I know these things are insecurities, alright? And I'm not the only one, and I know I'm probably just worrying about it too much. But the thing is, I oftentimes can't help but worry. And, I can't help but feel alone in my struggles, because I am alone more often than not. And at this point, I think it's a good idea to bring up that this isn't my first time discussing my autism at length, even on the internet. All the way back in September 2019, which is less than 3 years ago but feels like a decade, there was a forum thread on Online Sequencer, remember that site, where someone revealed they also had autism, and it sort of led to several members coming together to talk about their own struggles with autism. And I was among those members. I posted underneath that thread discussing in deep detail my biggest struggles with autism, and it's kind of a rambling wall of text, even more so than this video already is, but I do stand by that post 100%, so I'm just going to summarize things here. basically, the gist of that post was that I wanted to hide my autism from the internet for a very long time because, I wanted people to know me for me, what I can do, like my conquer maps or my music, and not for my autism. Like, I didn't want to make autism my identity. And it's not that I'm ashamed of being autistic or like it bothers me so much, but the thing is, in real life, it felt like people only knew me as, the autistic kid, and they never bothered to really get to know me beyond that. Like, they based all their understanding and interactions with me on my autism. And it would always result in this sort of patronizing tone people would always take with me, or how they raise their pitch of their voice at the end of every sentence like I'm asking a question. Kind of like this, so it seems like they're baby talking me, and I feel like I'm back in kindergarten, even though I'm very clearly an adult. And the other thing is that I feel like most of the mistakes I make that really don't even have to do with autism would be given free passes because I'm autistic, and apparently I don't know any better, even if I do, and I'm being a little shit. And yeah, along with the feeling of being coddled, there are several times where I just feel like I'm not taken seriously, especially in group settings when I try to bring up ideas or details that I think would, be pertinent to the situation or the project or whatever, and the rest of the group just dismisses it because I'm autistic. What do I know? Like, they don't actually say that, but they may as well. And I've only had a few genuine friends who could actually look past my autism and be real with me. But aside from them, everyone would either coddle me, bully me, or pretend I don't exist unless they absolutely need to talk to me. At least that's what it felt like. Obviously, that's kind of a shitty way of looking at things now, but that's how I felt at the time. And all this leads to the point I was getting to with the forum post, right? Whenever I try to get honest feedback on things I do, people would usually just praise everything and say that there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and they'd be super brief about it, oftentimes with that sort of patronizing tone like I mentioned. And even outside of that, just when talking to me in general, they only seem to care about me when they have to, in order to seem like good people. It was almost as if people were walking on eggshells around me because I had a short fuse or something, or they thought I was some sort of ticking time bomb, so to speak. And for the longest time, I didn't know if I was doing anything wrong or right. Like, it also played into my feelings of worthlessness too. And because no one took me serious enough to, help me out here, I don't know, like, I just didn't really, I guess I wanted an unbiased opinion for once. So when I eventually discovered Online Sequencer back in 2014 and officially started using the name JHXC, I've made the decision to not tell anyone about my autism until I felt like it was fine to do so. I just wanted to make music or games or maps or whatever, like, hey there, I'm a guy, here's my stuff, listen to it. And I didn't want to bring my autism into it because to me that just tends to poison other people's opinions, like I mentioned. And without the autism there, people could, give it to me as real as possible, alright? Because they didn't know me, they didn't know anything about me, they just knew the music and that was it. And lo and behold, it's been nearly 8 years of this, and from what I can gather, everyone loves what I've been doing. Or most of everyone. Obviously, I've had my critics over the years, which I've expected, but I've had people say that I was good at what I did. And even though these are all internet strangers and everything, it felt more genuine than what anyone else in my real life was telling me at the time. And seeing all the support I've gotten throughout the years has really helped me realize that the way I used to view other people's attitudes towards me was just a really shitty way of thinking. And I actually have worth as a person, and it's not just people humoring me. And all in all, it has led me to become a more confident person throughout the years. And I have all you guys to thank for it. Now at this point, you guys may feel like Michael Gary Scott, but I really can't stress enough how thankful I am for every single view I get. Like, the fact that I can make hundreds of people's days better, or even a few dozen, it means a lot to me. I always just wanted to have people enjoy the art and stuff that I make, because it makes me feel like I'm truly making a difference, and that I'm making other people's lives just a little bit better, alright? I want to bring up an analogy I'd use when describing myself in the context of, me and my autism. Which I'm only speaking for myself here, by the way, as I believe every person with autism has their own unique experience with it, so I'm talking in general here, but the way I would put it back then is that people with autism are a lot like bowls of Lucky Charms. You know how Lucky Charms have those gross grain bits no one likes, but they also have the marshmallow things that, make it all worth it. And people with autism, or really people in general, have their faults, like those grain bits. But they also usually have these amazing things about them that no one notices, like those marshmallows. And yes, I stole that analogy from Pro Jared, right? I don't care, he was one of my favorites at the time, and I still watch his videos even now, but that's a story for another time. I guess to end this, my advice to you guys is if you see someone with autism and your knee-jerk reaction is to make fun of them or just ignore them or dismiss them or whatever, try to look at them like a bowl of Lucky Charms. Try to find the marshmallows in them. I'm not saying to just ignore the green bits and pick out the marshmallows, alright? Instead, just, pour milk in a bowl after you put in the Lucky Charms, or before, if that's your thing. Because when you do that, the marshmallows really start to flavor everything, and it makes even the gross green bits not so gross anymore. Heck, you may even like them in the end. Now granted, if there's mold in it, don't bother with it, alright? Some people are just too rotten to deserve that chance, but for most of everyone else, my advice is to just give them a chance to be themselves, alright? Try to understand them for who they are. Or at the very least, don't be a bully. Alright, that's a pretty low bar for just about everyone, I hope. And yeah, this was just a small snippet of my experiences growing up with autism, so if you guys want to hear more stories about it, or if you have stories of your own, go ahead and let me know in the comments. And yeah, thanks to everyone for supporting me, and yeah, see you guys, I guess.